And more recently, you went full circle and created a mother and daughter retreat, right? So you
Right.
exactly. So from your baby to your mother. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of that work that you did with your mother recently, and also
Yeah.
about healing what is sometimes referred to as the mother and father wound? What does that mean?
Yeah. Um, I had a very difficult relationship to my mother, especially in my teen years, because I was a disruptor in the family. I was the one that like confronted my parents, that was really was challenging our family norms. I was the one that was hard to love, especially by my mother. My sister was way more like pleasing and nice, and I kind of, and she felt, I think, through that sense of me being like challenging her all the time, her rejection wound would come online, and we just had this extreme like painful relationship between the two of us. And I didn't receive a lot of her mentoring at all in my teen years or in my early 20s. I was kind of like out in the wild on my own. That's why I'm also saying like mentors are so important, especially in, I feel, in teen years, because it's the moment where we also maybe don't want to hear from our own of our own mothers and families. So this kind of separation obviously created a deep wound in me as well, of like not feeling that I had a space, and
Yeah.
like, all these kind of impressions that I carried. And part of my own personal work in over these years was healing that relationship with my mother, was forgiveness, was understanding her upbringing, her academy, her fear, her experience of rejection, her vulnerabilities and fears, and also, why the relationship between my parents went the way it went. Everything that I accused and suffered from, I was like, wow, like I was able to actually bring understanding to that, and with that compassion and with that forgiveness. And today, through this process, and I also in this process realized a lot of this process was without my mother. It was just me doing my own work. And with that, I realized that actually I don't necessarily need my mother to change. I can relieve that burden of her for needing her to be that mother that I never had, and relieving that. And she is a beautiful mother, like really seeing everything that she gave to me in this life. And with that, I think my mother somehow started her own path. Like, she was, I think, curious, but the recent years she went to retreats. She started doing, she's really in it for her own.
Which is not naturally her way of doing things.
No, it wasn't. It
Would have done.
it wasn't her. It's new. It's that thing that she completely. And I feel, because she's been witnessing my transformation and our relationship change, like I'm my mom's ally now. I'm like, I don't blame her or accuse her. I'm like, I get you, I
Yep.
get why you spend very little time with me. And like, I get it, I don't, I don't need, it's not right or wrong
Yep.
anymore. It's just what it is. And I think with that acceptance, she actually, I think, she feels that she can now start to open up more to me, because there is so much, oh my God, there is so much guilt a mother carries anyways, even if she
Yeah.
doesn't say it. Like a mother, like any mother that I work with, like it's always like this feeling of like, oh shit, I wish I did that different, or I wish and it stays with you silently, and it's such a disruptor of weight, right? So if we can take that weight off of our mothers, so much shifts within them.
Yeah.
So yeah, my relationship to my mom, and then I wanted to create a process for mothers and daughters that is not the younger generations, but it's the older generations, like our generation and our mothers. Because what I've realized is that our mothers also have never given the opportunity to do this
Yeah.
work. you know? So it's not
Very different times,
yeah.
very little awareness around what the work that we're doing.
Exactly. They were brought up, it's like something needs to be wrong with you, so you go to a therapist's office. So now it's like
And that's if you're lucky.
if
If
you're
you were in a culture or
yeah,
in a family that was open to therapy.
yeah,
Therapy was so taboo.
yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. And now it's like creating that kind of process and allowing daughters like us to give some of this gift back to our mothers and be like, wow, like I want to share this with you, not because I want to change you. It's because I accept and love you and I want to go on this journey, and maybe we haven't connected intimately in years. And
Yeah.
it's like I want to use this opportunity to get to know more of you, because we know very little about our mothers because they were in the role of mothering us. Now I'm mothering myself. I can fulfill my own role in that, but I want to know, like, what was going on for you, like,
Yeah.
what are we both carrying?
Yeah.
Because it's not your fault that you're carrying that from my grandmother. It's like,
Yeah.
it's passed down. So
Yeah.
let's do this ancestral work together. So I did the first edition last year, and my mother actually came, and it was so profound and beautiful to witness again the power of group, right? Like a lot of my work is group work, because out of the reason of being kind of in this amazing constellation of mirroring each other. Wow, there's other mothers here that are also like feeling the same,
Yeah.
and then
There's so much power in realizing that you're not alone in feeling something.
exactly. And then to be safe with your daughter and talk about things you might have never talked about before, and
Yeah.
to heal this worthiness wound. I always call it the mother wound, because our level of worthiness gets handed down by our mothers. If my mother didn't feel fully worthy, and claiming that, how can I then feel
Yeah.
fully worthy? So we're together reclaiming that whole, that has been kind of handed down in our line. And the father wound is, the father wound is it's a different kind of dynamic, right? The daughter and the father, or the son and the father. And it's the feeling of like, and I can only talk about it from a perspective of daughter father, right? It's the way that I was taught a man will show up for me.
Yeah.
It's my kind of the way that I learned or witnessed relationship
Yeah.
between my mother and my father, how
That
he would
becomes the
show up,
model of what you think
how he
it's
would
supposed
show
to
up.
be.
Yeah, my mom was like, oh, this is how a man is meant to show up. Or how he would love me is like, oh, this is how a man is meant to love. And then the pain of, I don't know, avoidance, or the pain of him not being fully present, or it needs to be witnessed in myself and actually seen and reconnected, so I don't need to design the same kind of relationship to man anymore, right? Because it's like, if I had an avoidant father, like the first thing is like, oh, like I'm gonna be dating avoidant man because this is what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So for me, like healing my father wounding and accepting my dad the way he is, actually meant like being able to call in different partners into my life, that I called in before, and reestablishing a deep level of trust towards the masculine. It's like, it's so important, because that's again the base of then our relationship. So, and again, my dad is an amazing dad, like my mom's an amazing mother, and I get to actually enjoy them for who they are
Yeah.
now, and celebrate
Yeah.
them for who they are now. So yeah.
And what a gift.
Yeah.
How beautiful to be able to see your parents through that lens, and then to see yourself, your partner, your friendships, your colleagues from this place of acceptance,
Yeah.
compassion,
Yeah.
and yeah, and ultimately love, as cliche as it sounds. You just get closer and closer to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I also want to say, like, obviously I was just home for Christmas, and it's so cool because I'm witnessing like, it's not that we don't get triggered anymore, right? Like, there is like the things that my dad then does, and I'm like, or my mom, and I'm just like, ooh, but I'm then taking responsibility actually for my own triggers. And I'm actually, what is really new for me now, that is, it's like I'm openly communicating. So when my dad does something, it's not like I'm responding with my kind of usual going to my room and being like withholding.
I'm the victim.
And
He's the main guy. He did this. He did this.
Process this
Yeah.
through my own, like, that's my work that I do, right? Like,
Yeah.
through my own alchemical, like, alchemy process of witnessing, feeling, giving it love, and then stepping out. And that's the responsibility that all of us on this path have. It's not the next retreat. It's not the next training. It's not the book that we read. It's that alchemy process that we need to do in each moment that we feel triggered. And that's discipline. And then I go to my dad, and instead of avoiding it, I can actually address it. And I'm like, Dad, like, what you just did or the way you spoke to me didn't feel good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's no blame, but we can give each other the possibility to grow together.
To communicate about it.
Okay.
How does the other person know if you don't tell them, if you don't have this feedback loop in a way?
Exactly. It's so important in any relationship, this beautiful feedback loop that comes from love rather than lack and you're not enough.
And I think that's the difference where it comes from. It comes from a place of love. You can have the same conversation from a place of blame. It will not get you anywhere.
No.
And ultimately, all this work is about this little second, this moment of, okay, this happened. I can be responsible for myself. I can feel different about it, process it, go talk to the person about it. That's what we're trying to do.
I'm like, oh, which of my little babies inside is triggered again? My 5-year-old that felt not seen, like, okay, I breathe, I hold it, and then I'm like, I can change that story of not being seen. And I'm like, you're totally seen. You're so seen. So I don't need to believe in this old belief that then taints all my reality, because then I create situations where I don't feel seen, right? So it's my responsibility when the moment happens that I don't feel seen to go in and change that part of my story.
Take control of that moment.
Totally. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.